I think that Zbigniew Brzeziński is one of the most important and consequential foreign security policy thinkers of the past half century. I mean, if you even just that one quote that Russia with Ukraine is an empire and Russia without Ukraine is not an empire already sums up the security situation of the past 20 years. But on top of that, I will make the point, which I think is maybe not appealing to everyone outside of Poland, but basically, you take two of the leading thinkers of foreign security policy of the past 50 years, so Zbigniew Brzeziński and Madeleine Albright. Well, they're actually from this part of the world. But my question is, would they have ever been listened to if they were in Europe? No, they had to go to America to be listened to. And then I will talk about how it is that we who know something, including Zbigniew Brzeziński and Madeleine Albright, were not listened to. At least they were not. At least we, when we talked about Russia, were not listened to. And I'll just talk about the role of people from Central and Eastern Europe in actually foreign security policy in Europe itself, where we know what we're talking about, we have real experience, and the people who don't know what's going on have all kinds of silly ideas, but they're the ones who are making the policy, and we are not put into positions where we can actually affect things. So that's more or less my speech. The key thing was I had a math teacher 50 years ago who actually did an experiment to see, when I was in high school, if she could teach us to code or to program. And so it was just only for half a year, but I learned to code, and that gave me the idea that, oh, well, I was a kid, I could learn to do it, so why don't we do it for all the kids in Estonia? They thought I was crazy when I proposed it. I mean, they really thought I was crazy, but then I had the fortune that the government actually thought, okay, well, we'll try it, and it's been quite successful. And 20 years after I started it, I would ask people who were very successful with startups, or even more than startups, but with IT companies, and I said, well, how'd you start? And they would say, well, I was a kid in your program, and that's where I sort of got the idea. Well, that's a hard question. Well, first of all, I mean, I don't know if it's European Union or the continent of Europe itself, but we have to be prepared for a distancing of the United States from transatlantic issues. I mean, whether it's going to be Donald Trump or not, if you look in the future, basically the United States will not have too many transatlantic presidents the way we had. We've already had, in the case of Obama, in the case of Trump, presidents who didn't have really any clear link at all to Europe, unlike earlier generations. And so Europe will have to deal with its own security much more and not rely as much as it has on the United States. More broadly, I think that we are coming to the end of an exceptional era. As I said, as Hegel said, the owl of Minerva flies at dusk, by which he meant to say you only understand that you've been in an era once it starts ending, in the era of a weak Russia, of cheap loans. I mean, what basically enabled all of our countries to develop. We didn't have the security problems. We were able to borrow money. Europe could dramatically reduce its defense expenditure. I think that we are going to go back to defense expenditures on the order of the Cold War period. I mean, 4 or 5% a year. That's of GDP, that's a lot of money, but we will have to do that for our security. So I think the security situation is going to become much more critical. Economically, I think economic growth will be lower. AI, no one can predict where it will be going, so we're in for a period of considerable creativity, I think. No, well, we'll need a lot of creativity. Whether we have it is a different question. That's up to you, the students.